Welcome to this week's episode of KinFit. I'm Michael.
I'm Tiffany, and today we are filming at Windsor Station.
Yep, we decided to seek refuge indoors because it's like minus 30 outside right now in Montreal, so...
I didn't want to become a human popsicle today.
No, not a nice day to be outside.
All right, so let's warm up with some fit news. So why don't you defrost us with some fit news?
Actually, I'm still trying to defrost myself.
Good luck.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I wanted to talk about was something I saw at macworld.com.
Mm-hmm.
They actually have a page, and what's on the page is that it talks about how to set up your workstation properly for when you're at work.
Oh, so like how to do it ergonomically?
Yep. So it teaches you how
nice.
to, like what height you should be sitting at, what height your armrest should be, how far you should be away from your monitor, how to set up your mouse, the distance, and how to set up your keyboard with the wrist rest, so you avoid like back injuries and neck strain and carpal tunnel syndrome and stuff like that.
Oh, that's good,
Yep.
because a lot of people just don't know how to and don't know where to look for this information, so There you go.
Yeah, so it's pretty neat. It's short, but it's very descriptive, so it's easy to read, and it has pictures to show you how to do it, and has numbers with like telling you this is for that and this is for that.
Oh, good, very interesting.
So check it out.
Excellent. Okay, so what else have you got for us?
One other thing I just found out was someone sent me this link, and it's at fightcholesterol.org.
Okay.
And it's actually on the page, it talks about the top 10 foods that help decrease high cholesterol levels in your blood.
Oh, good. So what are some foods?
There's 10 of them, but a couple were shiitake mushrooms, walnuts, apples, and big green leafy vegetables, and I think another one was garlic and salmon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so for each one, they number them, and I don't know if the numbering corresponds to which one's the best, but it's 1 to 10, and under each one they talk about the benefits of each and how they help.
Excellent, very good.
Pretty neat, so go check that out as well.
Good. All right, and recently, Dairy Farmers of Canada have just launched a new campaign called Your Healthy Weight, and you can see their new site, yourhealthyweight.ca, and it's really, really quite easy to use, very user-friendly. If you were curious about how you're eating, how can you balance your meals better, what is healthy weight, what's that mean, this is the site for you. So I would definitely say go check it out. You can find a lot of information. You can sign up for more things from them. You can try it without signing up, so that's nice too. So they also offer something called the Healthy Weight magazine. Okay, so this you can go on the site and sign up for it. It's free. They'll send it to you if you want it. You can download the Acrobat version as well on your computer, but it's got some really easy articles to read, very educational about obesity, about fruits and vegetables, stuff for kids too, how to get them to eat more fruits and vegetables. Definitely a very, very good read, so I would highly recommend go check it out. As well as they also have another site, dairygoodness.ca, and this is more encompassed for just a healthy lifestyle. So it's about activity, about different kinds of foods, how to read nutrition labels properly if you're confused about what's a daily value, what does a good source mean, what's a high source of something mean. So go check that out. So we'll have the links for you afterwards on the show notes. And that'll be it for this week's Fit News.
Recently, a friend came to me asking me about what type of hockey stick would I recommend them to buy. So for this week's Fit Tip, I decided to talk about what you should look for when buying a hockey stick. Now, before you actually go to the store and pick up a stick, there are several factors you need to consider. One is, what type of hockey player are you? Are you the recreational type player that only plays once or twice a week, mostly outdoors? Or you're a slightly more competitive player that plays mostly indoors, and you're looking for something that's more for performance? Now, generally, there are two types of hockey sticks. There is the wood stick, which is what I'm holding here, and then there are the new composite one-piece or composite two-piece sticks. Now, what a composite two-piece stick is that it's the shaft that's made of composite and the blade is made of wood. Now, if you're a recreational type player, what I really recommend is to get a wood stick. Why wood stick? Well, because wood sticks are a lot less expensive. The one I am holding here on my left hand, it ranges between $15 to about $30. If you want something a little bit lighter than just a regular wood stick, you might want to get something that's made of wood and fiberglass. Now, that will usually cost you a little bit more, between $30 to $50 or $60. Why I also recommend wood sticks for recreational players is that if you're playing mostly outdoors, then it's really cold. So when it's really cold, it's easier for the stick to break because it's a little bit more stiff. So it's not as bad breaking a $15 wood stick as opposed to breaking something that's more like $100. Now, if you're a competitive type player and you're looking for performance, you might want to look for something that's made of composite. Okay, the new composite one-piece sticks are a lot more durable and they're a lot lighter, but because of that, they're a lot more expensive. The price range from $100 to about $300, so that's really something you need to consider. So depending on your budget, you might want to get something as little as $100, but if you can afford it, you might want to get something that's $200 to $300. I usually generally recommend something in between that, $100 to about $150. Now, once you decide what type of stick you want to get, when you go to the store, you might want to consider what type of flex you want on your stick. And what the flex is basically the whip, the bend, or the stiffness of the shaft or the stick itself. Right now, for example, the stick I am holding right here, it says regular flex 87. What this means is that a height 87 flex requires 87 pounds of force to bend the shaft 1 inch. So if you get 100 flex, it just means that it takes about 100 pounds of force to bend the shaft at 1 inch. So what type of flex is right for you? Well, if you're a defensive type player or a slightly more aggressive type player and you take a lot of slap shots, you might want to get a stiffer stick. So something between 100 to maybe 120. If you're a smaller player like I am, a forward, a finesse type player that likes to take wrist shots or snap shots, you might want to get a less stiff stick or a smaller flex. So something between maybe 87 to about 100. So after you figure out what type of flex you want, you might want another thing to consider is the pattern of the stick, or what I mean is the pattern of the blade. Now, there are 3 types of curves you can get. You can get a heel curve, a mid curve, or a toe curve. Now, if you're someone who likes to take a lot of slap shots and you want a little bit more rise on your shot, then you might want to get a heel curve. If you're someone who just likes to do a lot of wrist shots, snap shots, you like to lift the puck a lot doing wrist shots, like going for the top corners, you might want to get something that's a heel curve or a toe curve. Generally, toe curve will help you lift the puck higher when taking wrist shots, and it'll help with the accuracy as well. Now, if you like to pass the puck a lot, then you might not want too much of a curve, so you might want to go for a blade that's a little bit straighter. Now, after you figure out the type of stick you want, you figure out the flex and the pattern, next thing to consider is the height of the stick. Now, when you go to the store, you'll notice all the sticks come in one standard height, which is usually 63 inches or 150 centimeters to 200 centimeters. Now, we're not all 6'4" or 6'3", and a lot of times when you buy a stick, you notice it's really long. So you don't want to be using a super long stick. So what is the general recommended height for a hockey stick is basically between your chin and your nose while standing on your skates. Now, the best way to measure this is by either putting on your skates and basically holding the stick beside you and marking off where the stick is. So somewhere between your chin and your nose. You don't have to put on your skates to do this. What I usually recommend to people is that you just stand on your toes, okay? That's usually the height that you are on your skates, and you just put the stick in front of you and you just mark off where you want to cut the shaft. So like I said, something between your chin and your nose is the proper height your hockey stick should be. My hockey sticks are usually between my chin and my lips. And something really important to consider is that after you cut your stick, the stick is actually a lot stiffer, so the flex actually changes. So this is one thing you really should consider when you actually go buy your stick, because if you're looking for something that's 87 flex, when you go to the store and buy an 87 flex stick and you cut it, the flex actually increases. So what you should do is you should buy something that's a little bit less flex. Okay, so for instance, if I like to prefer to use something that's 87 flex, then I'll go and buy a 77 flex stick. So after I cut it, it'll be around that type of flex. Generally, the new sticks now actually have a little marking system in the back saying that if you cut this much of the stick, this is what the flex is now. So if I bought if I bought 100 flex, then in the back it'll say the stick here is 100 flex. If I cut here, it'll become about 120. So that's one thing you should really consider, is that You might want to buy something that's less flex so that afterwards when you cut it, it's the right flex for you. So those are the things I really recommend. That's it for today's Fit Tip, and we'll see you next time.
So today on Information, we're going to talk about the importance of eating breakfast. So like the word says, we are breaking fast. So after you wake up from 5, 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep, your body is basically running on not a lot of fuel. So that's why you have to put some fuel in there. Because while we sleep, our metabolism is actually running very, very low because we're resting. So in order for it to wake up and start revving the engine, you have to put fuel in to know that your body's awake. Otherwise, your body basically thinks that you're in starvation mode and your metabolism won't function as well as it should be in the morning. And as well as when you eat the breakfast, it mobilizes the fat stores, you start burning off everything, so it's good, rather than delaying the breakfast. Now, breakfast is especially important with kids going to school because it's been shown that in studies, kids who eat a nutritious breakfast perform better in school, have better energy, pay attention a lot better. So I think that probably would apply to the rest of us as well. So it's definitely a good idea to do that. As well as breakfast is a good time to start putting in our whole grains, right? It's going to be really easy. The hot oatmeal, put some dried fruit in there, a little bit of yogurt, milk, and then you've got a pretty good breakfast. Not everyone has to have a really, really big breakfast with the eggs and the bacon and the sausage. It's not necessary, but you need to put something in there. So even if you're not used to having breakfast in the morning, have something small, a piece of toast with a little peanut butter. You'll get used to it and it'll be much, much better for you, since it is also shown that people who eat breakfast regularly have an easier time maintaining a healthy body weight and are less likely to be obese and have diabetes and all this other kind of stuff. So it's definitely something worth looking into. So why don't we try to have our regular breakfast in the morning starting this week. Okay? And we'll see you next time on Information.
So this wraps up our freezing episode of KinFit.
I am now a human popsicle.
I haven't defrosted, by the way.
I will never defrost it. So please check back our show notes for all those important links that we want you to check out.
And if you have any suggestions, questions, or feedback you want to give us, just email them to us at info@kinfit.tv.
Big thank you goes to Timmy, our cameraman, and Darcy for helping us out.
Woohoo! So remember, don't quit.
Stay fit.
Actually make that longer.
Yeah, I know. I just realized it's really short. And my eyebrows started twitching. It was weird. It's like